Hey all, Adam Small here from My Music Masterclass, and today I'm going to do this video on social media and networking for musicians. And this will probably be separated into a few different parts because it's a huge topic and I'll probably just scratch the surface in this lesson. But it's something that a lot of musicians have problems with, and I get asked this stuff all the time when I'm either consulting with people or speaking at events. Basically, musicians have problems getting their music out there, branding themselves, and even understanding how this stuff works and why it's beneficial for them. So I'm going to kind of break this down into, like I said, into the first steps of understanding the technology and how it can work for you and how it can work against you. And we'll take it from there. So I was talking to a really great musician the other day that's well known in jazz circles, but he hasn't really gotten into social media. And he was telling me that although he's played with all these great people and he's on these amazing recordings with people like Herbie Hancock and just amazing jazz greats, that he doesn't really understand how to leverage this into putting it online and how that can work for him. And I explained to him a really, really important fact that a lot of people don't understand. So just about 10 years ago even, if you were a touring musician and you got back from the road, you'd have to actually tell people that you got back from the road. You'd have to maybe go to someone's gig and say, hey, I'm back in town, I'm available for work. And that's kind of how the whole system worked, and in a way it still does. I mean, people obviously still go out as a musician. You should always go hang at people's gigs and stuff like that. But social media kind of bridges this gap and where people can see what you're doing. And for some people that really sucks. It's a violation of privacy, and they don't want to, they feel stupid telling people about, the cold brew coffee they bought, or something that's trivial. But what this does, and not that you should, I don't know about the cold brew coffee thing, but what you're doing is you're telling people that what you're doing. You're telling people that you're around, you're telling people that you're on tour, you're telling people that you're busy. It's really just keeping your name in people's heads, which is exactly what you would have done years ago when you went out to a gig. You go out to a gig, you see people who say, hey, Bob, or hey, Jake, or hey, Adam, I'm in town. So essentially, like it or not, this is the way people keep your name in mind when they're hiring you for gigs. They also see what you're doing, and people, although they might not comment or like your posts, are aware of what you're doing a lot of the times because it shows up in their feed. So, next time you see this person, they might say, hey, I saw that you were playing with so-and-so, or, would you like to do this? Because they might be impressed by something you're doing, or maybe they checked out a video you posted and they liked your playing. So this is important in that aspect. Another thing to consider is the concept of almost a digital resume. And this is kind of what happens online. The internet is this living beast that kind of takes in all the information from anything that you do that's logged into the system and comes up when your name is searched. So in this day and age, and this video was made in 2014, but in 2015, 2016, the way I see it, technology is even going to get crazier, and there might even be more trends. But that being said, this is the basis of it. If you're up for a gig, the first thing that someone's going to do is Google your name. Now, this doesn't just mean that you're a sideman and you're up for a gig with an artist, but it can also mean if you're a producer, if you're a songwriter, if you meet someone and you say, hey, my name is this, they're going to Google you. So what's going to show up, right? Now, this is part of what I was saying about the digital resume, the online resume. Now, the same way that like a paper resume would be given if you were, if you're a lawyer or a doctor, basically any other trade besides a musician or a freelancer probably, you'd have a paper resume, right, with your job experience. Now, in terms of musicians, it's all online. No one's ever going to ask you for a paper resume. They really don't care where you went to school. None of that matters. All they care about is what you sound like, what you look like, and maybe a few other things. And obviously this varies depending on what gig you're going for, or if what your goal is. So what are people going to find out when they Google you or when they search for you in any way? Say you're a bass player and you did a gig with some guy and it wasn't a gig you're particularly proud of, and there was 5 people in attendance, and the sound was bad and you don't think you played very well. Except that this guy, the band leader, videotaped it on his iPhone, or his girlfriend did, and then it was posted on YouTube, and when anyone searches for your name, that shows up. Now, you might not be able to get that removed because, this guy posted it, and I don't know, maybe he doesn't want to remove it, maybe you don't feel like asking him because he gives you work and that'll burn a bridge. So this can be a lot of different instances. It doesn't just have to be about this particular situation I just said. So essentially, there's going to be information out there in this age, whether you like it or not, and that's what I'm trying to say. And some of it could be good, and some of it can be bad or embarrassing. And the best way to remove content that you don't want is to push it out with stuff that you do want. Now, this is it's actually pretty easy to do. So, like I said, instead of trying to get videos or things removed, what you want to do is push them to like the second or third page of Google results. And if you are to put great content that you're proud of up online in the right ways, you'll move all this stuff to page 2 or 3, and no one's even going to see that. No one's going to go that far to search for this stuff with you. And all your awesome stuff's on the front page. A friend of mine and amazing drummer, Glenn Sobel, he was up for the gig with Alice Cooper. Now, he had made all these YouTube videos of just drum cams of him playing and some stuff in his practice room. And he's an amazing drummer, and he's been around for a while, and he's done some great gigs. And he was in the mix for guys to play with Alice Cooper. I think there was a handful of guys up for the gig. Now, Alice Cooper actually researched his name, Googled him, and found these videos, and that's essentially what got him the gig when all said and done. He liked how he played, how he sounded, how he looked. He was into it, and Glenn got the gig from YouTube. Now, this might seem strange to you, it might not, but what's strange to me is that Alice Cooper is not, for those of you watching this video who are, 17 or under, might not know who Alice Cooper is, but Alice Cooper's not a young guy, and some might think that he's not, maybe he's not an internet savvy cat, and he's not out there, searching for people on YouTube and doing all this stuff, but he was, and you can't underestimate the power of that stuff. Now, if Glenn didn't have this YouTube presence, who knows? He probably wouldn't have gotten the gig, and essentially that's what sealed the deal for him. So that's just one example of how important it is to have this amazing stuff that you're proud of on YouTube, on social media, and painting, your best picture. I personally like to keep social networking light, meaning that I don't like to get involved in any heated or controversial subjects because I just don't feel that that's helpful for me. Every one of you can make your own decisions about how you guys want to deal with this. But personally, I wouldn't want to burn bridges. We're freelancers as musicians, and you have to think about everything you write because it's not just you and your friends in a room where you can say whatever the hell you want. This stuff is sometimes permanent. It's online. It can start. I've seen firestorms started online. I actually wrote an article on my music masterclass about how social networking can go wrong. And I saw this young saxophone player in New York basically burn a bridge of the entire town by just making an off-color comment on Facebook. And this stuff can happen, and it's viral. Viral in a bad way is not good, in my opinion. The old saying that there's no bad press is not true. If you get bad press, if you have a Paula Deen moment or a Michael Richards, or where you say something racist, or if you say something homophobic, that's not good press. Like, people will stop supporting you. And if you have to, and remember, the music community is very small, so all you have to do is piss one person off with a comment that you thought was just maybe on your page or to your followers, and people get wind of it and start sharing it around. The backlash can be brutal, and it can totally screw your career up. So again, I got a whole article about that. You can check it out if you want. And but keep it light. That's my opinion, but I keep it light, and be positive. No one wants to see or read about someone that's negative and bitching about stuff all the time. So write about positive things, and I'll talk more about content later, but that's pretty much what I wanted to say about that. So Facebook has a lot of great features for musicians, and it's really important as a networking tool. One really important thing about Facebook is it has Facebook Messenger. Now, while light Facebook users might not use it, people that are heavy Facebook users receive these messages like text messages. So they receive them on their phones and devices, and it's instant communication with certain people. So you don't necessarily have to have certain people's numbers or emails in order to get in touch with them. The other thing is that the way that Facebook works and integrates with your feed, you can really see what certain people are doing, and other people can see what you are doing, and it's based upon how many likes and how many comments there are in a feed that makes it more popular in News Feed. It's pretty obvious. It's just the more popular a post is, the farther it goes up. There's also other ways to promote your posts, and I can get into that later, but Facebook has totally affordable ad solutions for artists that are able to make Facebook ads that target specific demographics, and I'll get into that in just a second. So Facebook should be your main hub of operation here in terms of getting a good fan base or a friend base and building out from there. I'd say even before Twitter, although I don't know, Twitter is just as important in my eyes. I have both. I have a personal page, and I guess 90% of those people that are friends on my personal page I actually do know personally. And that's how I like to run my business. I like to run it separately. So I have a page for My Music Masterclass, which is my website, or one of my websites. And that has a ton of likes, okay? So people like those pages, so they're not friends of the page, right? Some of this might be pretty obvious to you. But the thing is that if you have an artist page or any kind of group page or music page or whatever you want to call it, those likes become really important. If someone comes to your page and you've told them about you, and you say, hey, I'm an up-and-coming producer, I do all this stuff, like I've worked with blah, 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 and blah, 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 and they happen upon your Facebook fan page or your Facebook artist page, and you only have like 85 likes, it makes you look pretty bad. It's going to make you look like you don't have a lot of fans, you don't have a lot of traction, and that's not going to help your cause. So if you're going to have that kind of page, you need to boost those likes. So there's a couple ways that people boost their likes on their Facebook pages to make them look better. The first is obvious. People buy fake followers. This, to me, is not the best option if you want people to interact with your page, and it's not something that I did with my Facebook page. But if you want people just to see your page and have it look good in a short amount of time, I understand why someone would do that. The second option, if you want people to be part of your page and people to like your page that are actually interested in your music and your talents, that takes a little more work, but you can get a real fan base of people that'll support you. Now, if you want to do that, the easiest way to do it is through Facebook ads. if you don't do Facebook ads, you can obviously invite all of your friends to like your page, and you should do that anyway, but that becomes pretty annoying after like the third request someone gets to like someone's page. So you can only hassle your friends so much. Facebook ads is probably the best way to get new fans to like this page. For those of you that are not familiar with the Facebook ad system, it's pretty insane and robust, and it's almost like a little Big Brother-ish, because Facebook essentially knows all of your information, right? Everything you've ever liked on Facebook. So if you're a fan of Steve Miller or Kesha or Miles Davis or Berklee College of Music or anything, all these things are part of your information on Facebook, and they know this about you. So when you do an ad on Facebook, when you run an ad campaign, you can target every one of these demographics. If you're a singer-songwriter, this might mean, let's say, an artist like Elliott Smith is someone that you think your music sounds like, or Radiohead. Say, hey, I have a band, and it sounds a bit like Radiohead, but it also sounds a little like, I don't know, Tom Waits. So that's kind of random collaboration right there, right? So you can actually go into the Facebook ads and target everything from someone's age, the country, and their interests. If they're friends of your page already, or if they're not, if they like your page now or they don't. So what I usually do is I want new people to find me. So I would say I don't want anyone that's following my page. And I can get more into this later. But for now, I just want to explain how important this stuff is and how powerful it can be for you. So again, let's get back to this. You can say, hey, I want to target people that liked Radiohead. I want to target people that like Tom Waits. I want to target people that live in Nebraska over the age of 21. I want to, if you're a drummer and you have a drum video and you're trying to sell a drum instructional video, you can say, I want to target Modern Drummer Magazine. I want to target University of North Texas, whatever. I want to target Steve Smith or, a drummer that you think you sound like, or Jack DeJohnette or Bernard Purdy. Whatever you are trying to sell, and you have to think of yourself as a product, if it's your music or, even just your talents, you can target someone else's page, or it targets other people's interests, and your ad will only show to those people. So essentially, again, if you're a bass player and you think you sound like, Marcus Miller or Victor Wooten, and you want people to know about your new bass record, you should target people that like those basses, and then your ad will show up to them. You'll word it a nice way, and hopefully they happen upon your page and buy your record. Again, this is a brief overview of Facebook's ad system, and I can get super detailed with it because I've run a ton of successful ads with this, and there's an entire marketing strategy to get into. But I just want to show you how powerful it is. But one last thing before I move on to another social network is that it's not expensive. You can run Facebook ads for $3 a day, for $2 a day. I run them for $3, $4, $5 a day. You can stop them whenever you want to. So you can see how they're doing. And you can see all the analytics. You can see that what your click-through rate is. 1%, 2%, 10% of the people shown the ad are clicking on it. And then you can reword it if it's not hitting, if it's not working for you. You can say, hey, how can I word this better to sound, less salesman-y, or I don't know, it's not working. We have to fix it. But my point is, it's not expensive. It's not expensive to do this. You can run an ad for a couple bucks a day and see how it works. And you can be out $10 for 5 days. And you're getting new fans. So the next big social network I'm going to discuss is Twitter, and again, you've heard of this one. It's a biggie, And I really feel like most musicians should get involved with Twitter as well. To be honest, when I first started using Twitter, I didn't really understand how it worked. And I didn't understand how it could be beneficial to me. And there's a lot of tagging involved and a lot of hashtagging, which is super useful, and you have to implement it or Twitter won't really work for you. That's something I didn't mention in Facebook, but you should always tag people and hashtag things as well. And with all these social networks, like hashtag everything. It doesn't matter if you're using Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn, it doesn't matter. Hashtag and tag people if they're important to the post, because they'll be notified that you tag them. And again, it's part of this social networking thing. The first thing to understand about Twitter is that there is a limit or a wall that people hit when they first join Twitter. You can follow as many people as you want until you get to 2,000, and then there's a 10% variable in between how many people you're following and how many follow you. So you have to get above 1,800 in order to follow more than 2,000 people, if that makes sense. When you get to a higher number, it obviously becomes easier because that 10% encompasses more people because of the math, obviously. So the big mistake people make when they join Twitter is that they just go follow crazy and they follow everyone that doesn't follow them back, and then they have they're following 2,000 people and then they have 120 people following them. And it's hard to bounce back from that if you want to get your ratio right. So again, it's about your ratio, your follow ratio. And you want to keep it about even or, pretty close to that. And so you're able to follow new people and have them follow you back. Now, I have some strategies for doing that the right way and building your fan base and building your follower base. And I'm going to share those with you. Obviously, your Twitter followers have kind of the same connotation as like your Facebook likes. If someone goes to your Twitter page and you don't have a lot of followers, it's saying that you don't have as many fans, right? Or as many people that are supporting what you do. It doesn't necessarily have to be the case, but again, we live in this social media world and we have to make this work for us, right? So the two ways of boosting your followers up, again, and this is just like Facebook, I'll start with, you can easily buy fake followers on Twitter, which again, I have not done, but I know people that have done it. And the only reason that you would do this is if you quickly want to look like you're more popular than you are. But something to realize is that those people won't interact with you. And the biggest thing about Twitter is you should not just use it so that people can see that you have Twitter followers. You have to be able to get through to these people when you have something to promote, right? Or if you have something to say. It's not going to help you if these are robots or fake followers. So you want people to retweet your stories. You want to have conversations with people. You want to, think of it like you're out and you're at a gig and you're talking to other musicians, you're talking to other people. This is the way a lot of people socialize now. So Twitter is a social tool. Another thing I want to get into before I delve deeper into how to build your follower base is that when you're following people, it's important to understand who's going to follow you back. And a lot of people make this mistake. They follow celebrities or people that aren't going to follow them back. And this is how you get your ratio super low. And if there's a celebrity that you want to hear what they say, then by all means follow them. That has nothing to do with what I'm saying. If you think that someone writes really good stuff, or you want to keep up with their schedule, or if you think that someone writes some funny stuff once in a while, then you should follow them. But if you're just following someone because they're your idol or you think that it's going to get you somewhere, you should follow people that have mutual interests, and you should follow people that are going to follow you back. Now, you can see who's going to follow you back pretty easily because everyone has a ratio. You can see how many people follow them and how many people they follow. If you see someone's follow ratio, like maybe they have 5,000 followers and they follow 4,800 or 4,000 or 6,000. Maybe they follow 1,000 more people than are following them. That means that there's a good likelihood they're going to follow you back, and that kind of reciprocal follow back is important to get your numbers up with musicians. Now, don't get me wrong, you know, you can always follow a celebrity and you know, maybe tag them in a post and have them retweet the post, and which could be huge for you because, you know, a celebrity could have 100,000 to millions of followers. But that doesn't necessarily have to happen from you following them, and that's something that people don't always understand in Twitter. You know, following someone is a very specific thing, and you just see their feed. You can tag anyone. You don't have to follow them at all. I could tag, you know, whoever's online right now. I can tag Adele or Questlove, and they would see that I wrote something about them. If they were interested in it, maybe they would retweet it, you know. And if they do, then that's good for you. But I'll get into all that in a minute. So how do you build followers on Twitter in an organic way with people that are going to be interested in your music or your talents? This is a question people ask me all the time, and there's a few ways to do it. You could just go old school and just search for hours within Twitter profiles, look at people's follow ratios, look who they're following, and essentially just try to find good candidates of people that are following you know, pages similar to yours or people similar to yours. You could look up, like an artist, say, you know, I sound like John Legend, and then I look at all John Legend's followers, and then I target them and try to get them to follow me back. That's definitely one way to go, but it's not the best way to go. The best way to go, in my opinion, is to use a tool called Tweepy. And Tweepy is a great tool which kind of gives you all these stats and puts them together in a way that makes it easy for you to navigate Twitter and follow people that most likely are going to follow you back and that have the same interests as you. It's not a free thing, and I have no, you know, I get no kickbacks. I'm not associated with Tweepy in any way. I just think they're cool, and it's helped me, and it's helped other people get their Twitter stuff together. So with Tweepy, and again, I can do a whole lesson the same way I was going to do one on Facebook and the ads. I can have a screenshot of Tweepy and show you how to go through this, but essentially you can see all the stats. So if I were to look at, again, if I think I sound like John Legend and I want to go after people that like his page, I can organize all of the people that follow his page by follow ratio, like I said before, so how many people they're following versus how many follow them. How many, when their last tweet was, so you can see if someone is online often, what their bio says, all these different things that are just, you can sort and filter by these parameters. And it makes it really easy to find people instantly that you know, have a really good shot at following you back. So when you follow 100 or 200 people, you should get a very good return on that. Like most of those people are going to follow you back. And that's how you start building a database of actual musicians that want to follow you back. And you're following them, they're following you, it's a happy family, and there's no robots around. Once you get rolling with Twitter and you get your followers to the point where, you know, you're starting to grow it, if you use Tweepy or you decide to go a different route, you know, there might be other ways of doing it too, but again, Tweepy is what I use. Anyway, once you get rolling with this, you have to really understand why you're supposed to hashtag and why you're supposed to tag people in posts. This is the most important thing about Twitter. It's actually almost a waste to post something if you don't tag it in some way, because it's not showing anyone, you know, no one's going to find it, is what I'm trying to say. if you have enough followers, people will find it because you have all these followers and it's showing up in their feeds. But if you're continually trying to get your music to someone or a product or something else, you want to tag. For instance, for the site, we just filmed a behind-the-scenes shoot of one of our master classes. We did this really cool master class with this great percussionist, Brad Dutz, who's played on like a crap load of recordings, and he's amazing. And we decided to use a tablet, which, I don't know, it's around here somewhere, and it's a really cool Windows 8 tablet. And I wanted to see, because it was so small, if we could record the whole 8-track session on this tablet, with multi-track setup, and it was like a 3 or 4 hour session. Wanted to see if we could do it on battery life. So it was almost like a partial behind the scenes, partial gear review. And when I posted it on Twitter, I tagged the manufacturer of the tablet, which was Asus, and Focusrite sound card. So I tagged Focusrite, and I tagged a few other things. And Focusrite retweeted me, and Asus retweeted me, and so essentially, I'm hoping that you understand. I mean, I'm trying to explain this stuff, and I have no one asking me questions right now, so I'm hoping it's coming across because the camera is not asking me questions. But essentially, what I'm trying to say is that in Asus, they have a trillion followers, right? Or Focusrite has a bunch of followers. Not a trillion, obviously, but it's a different demographic. And when they retweet something that you've done, now all their followers see your post, right? And that was just because I decided to say, instead of saying, hey, I recorded a video using a Focusrite blah, 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 and an Asus blah, 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 I said, and at Focusrite blah, 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 and at Asus blah, 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 like whatever their specific Twitter tags are. And it notified them that, I wrote something about them. They checked it out. And this not only works in terms of retweeting to their fans, but say you want a gear endorsement, right? And like you're getting a lot of action, like a YouTube video is getting a lot of hits, and you're shredding, you're a guitarist, and you're killing it on a Marshall. And you want to get in touch and tell Marshall that, maybe you want a free Marshall amp, right? I wouldn't just tweet Marshall and be like, give me a free amp, man, I mean, that probably won't work. But what if you just make them aware of you and you're playing? Like, you say, hey, you just recorded this video of me playing over this tune with Marshall, blah, 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 amp. And all of a sudden, they might retweet it if they think it's cool, or maybe they'll get in touch with you and say, hey, that sounds great. Like, you mind if we feature this on our website? Or maybe you get to talk to them and they want to help you out. Now, this is kind of like a dream situation, right? But you have to understand the concept in order for any of this to work for you. It's not going to happen overnight where you're going to tag someone and you're going to be the next superstar that comes out of YouTube. It doesn't always happen like that, but that's not the point. And the point shouldn't be to like always try to get free gear either. You should just get in a habit of tagging anything you can. If you're playing a Thelonious Monk tune and you're a jazz sax player, you can tag like Thelonious Monk. I mean, literally, the Monk Institute has a page. And, it basically, if that page decides to retweet you, again, you might be retweeted to 10 or 20 or 30 or 40,000 more people. And, maybe that'll help you in some way. That's why Twitter's cool, okay? And I hope that makes sense.